Junior Mike Barton lives in the heart of Carrboro. He says he bikes everywhere, including to UNC.
Well, parking on campus is terrible. So like riding a car is not really an option.
Barton says he rides on bike paths through town, but sometimes has trouble finding a rack.
I feel like there are a handful, maybe not as many as there should be. I guess I take it back. Actually, there has been one time that I had trouble, and it was by Open Eye because that's a really popular spot. But that rack fills up sometimes, and maybe they'd benefit from having an extra one over there.
Earlier this month, the Board of Aldermen discussed a bike share program. Alderwoman Bethany Cheney says people could pick up and drop off bikes at selected areas.
And it's really terrific in places where people have good access to good roads. Biking is relatively safe.
The board also discussed parking on Old Pittsboro Road. Cheney says cars have recently clogged that area.
Obviously, residential neighborhoods and residences, particularly long-term residents, aren't really interested in that.
Cheney says there are several problems with parking on Old Pittsboro Road.
It's narrow
And a common path for cyclists.
Alderman Sammy Slade says people should be allowed to park there, since it's close to downtown.
Because in essence, streets are public assets that aren't really just of the neighbors. There are town-wide assets.
Last year, the board commissioned a parking study. The results show there are enough public parking lots, but not enough signs at these locations for visitors. Also, people are constantly exceeding the 2-hour parking limit. Slade says he favors the bike share program since it could lessen the number of cars parked downtown.
And from my perspective, serve as a basis from which to reduce our parking and encourage walking and biking without affecting our downtown businesses.
Barton says he also has a car, but rarely has trouble finding a parking spot.
The one place that I've had trouble finding parking is the grocery store, that Harris Teeter. But I think that's just a function of the fact that the lot is kind of small on purpose to keep the city walkable.
Barton says sometimes he prefers to walk and not worry about where to park. In Carrboro, I'm Jack Friedman reporting.